This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.
Hello everybody, this is Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and I've been eating a raw vegan diet for many years now. I am a high advocate of eating raw food and especially not eating animals, so I am definitely in support of a vegan diet and lifestyle. And I've been doing this a very long time, and there's a whole group of new people now that are eating a raw food diet for the last 5 years or so, and they're eating a vegan diet and a vegetarian diet. And it's wonderful to see so many people in it these days. And what they're doing is wonderful. They're having these festivals all over the world, these vegan fruit stocks and all these other types of events all over the world. And I think that's a great thing that's happening for community and also just for awareness and to let people know that you don't just have to eat animal-based products or just the standard American diet to enjoy food. There's so many different varieties of fruits and vegetables out there. And I've been saying this for years. You could eat a different variety of a fruit every day probably for the rest of your life and not come close to tasting all of them. If you look around me right now, there's a bunch of trees. There's right in my background, that's a lychee tree. I'm sitting between right now a mango and an avocado tree, and all of this is in my yard. Well, one of the organizers of one of these events I've been in touch with recently, and he asked me a couple of questions, wanting to know where I'm at now and in my diet and my lifestyle. Because over the years, I have went back and forth on different ideas of how I eat a raw food diet. Because there's many different ways to eat a raw food diet, and I think it's a very good questions he asked and very understandable questions. But instead of just emailing him back, I wanted to make a video just letting people know where I'm at and letting my viewers know where I'm at now. And I've went from starting out in the raw food diet with the Hippocrates Health Institute style type diet, which is basically eating mostly sprouts, mostly greens, and very little to no fruit. And when I first started, I was eating fruit when I got healed from inflammatory bowel disease. But the more I got into the aspect of overall health and healing from disease, I found the Hippocrates Health Institute program based on sprouts being the main part of the diet as the ideal way to do it. And over the years, I've deviated from that and went back to that, and I've just tried many different aspects. There was even a time for a couple of years where I tried raw goat milk, and just to see if that would anything could be from there. So technically, I've been all raw. I haven't been all vegan, and I tried that, and I didn't find that to be the ideal way to do it. So I went back to a raw vegan way of eating, and then I would say over the last several years, I've been eating mostly raw, but I started to include some cooked food in my diet, and I was doing some cooked food for a couple of years, but still did not feel as good as the way I'm eating now. And for the last, well, I'll just answer it because this person wanted to know where I am with my diet now, and I want to just let you, my viewers, know where I'm at. And some of you might applaud my ideas of changing over the years so much to keep experimenting and learning as a good thing, while some of you might be confused and say, why does he keep changing, or he changes too much? And I believe no one's going to get everything right every time. And I think experimenting is the only true way to know if something's good or bad for you, and try things out. And there are some things that I wouldn't try because I just know they're not good. But some things that might work and adjust things might be good. So based on all of my experiments and everything else that I've done on my own personal self, and from what I've seen over the community for the last 20 or so years, what I'm doing now I feel is working best for me and my environment. That's very important, the environment we live in. Because there are some people that live in different climates. There are people that are starting out in a different condition than I was in when I started with this illness. So we have to take all those things into consideration when starting out, but still, what is the ideal food that's best for us? Now, before I get into these answers, I do want to mention that I do promote two things strongly. One of them is the formula for health. Based on Arnold Ehret's theory, his formula for life is power minus obstruction equals vitality. And the ideal way to eat according to that formula is to take in the foods that give your body the most while using the least amount of energy to get rid of the waste. So when we consider that, when you hear my answers, you got to consider that. What food is going to give my body the most nutrients while using the least amount of energy to get rid of the waste? And that, of course, would be the food with the least amount of waste and the less complicated food. And so the ideal foods for our body would be those types of foods. And then the other thing I promote is a daylight diet. It's just not eating very close to going to sleep. And I'm a big promoter, or I strive to be a big promoter of getting to sleep at a decent time and getting up early in the morning. And that's one thing I've struggled with over the years, but I'm doing much better with it now than I've ever had been before, and I feel so much better for it. But I'm a big promoter of not eating too soon before going to sleep, thus a daylight diet. I'm a big promoter of eating when the sun's out, eating when it's light outside. So he asked me, I think, 4 or 5 questions I'm going to answer here, and you could put your comments and questions below the video. And to the person that sent me this question, if you have more questions, just let me know. But somebody said, what are your views on a fruit-based diet these days? And he wrote these days because he knows me and he understands I've been doing this a long time, over 20 years, and I've at some times told people not to do as much fruit as other times where I told people fruit is wonderful. Where I stand now is I live here in South Florida. It's a tropical environment. And my lifestyle now is a tropical lifestyle. I don't like air conditioning. I like windows open. I'm currently eating 100% raw vegan, which is another one of the questions. But I believe if we eat hot food, we're going to be hotter. Then we're going to need air conditioning, and it just goes down a spiral you don't want to go in. But my views on a fruit-based diet these days is, when I spoke about the ideal food, giving my body the most while using the least to get rid of it, I think fruit is that ideal food. Fruit does that. So if you're getting it, preferably organic. Now there's some fruits like an avocado that I would eat that's not organic necessarily. And I strive to grow all my food and eat. My goal is to eventually be able to eat 100% of the food I grow here in my garden, in my yard, or just other places, my neighbors, or other places I could find. And it's a lot more available here in South Florida than other places in the world. But I am a big promoter of fruit. Based diet. Now it's fruit based. He didn't say complete fruitarian, but fruit based. And for me, I don't base my diet on fruit, but it's a big part of my diet. My diet, I eat very little now, and when I first got into this, I met people that have been doing this much longer than I have, and they just ate so much less than I did, and I just didn't know how they were able to get by on so little. And now that's where I've come. I don't really, I remember one person said to me, when you enjoy not eating as much as you enjoy eating, you've come to a certain place. And I certainly get my pleasure out of eating. I love to eat, and I love to eat good tasting fruit. I do take in the money factor of some of the foods, that how much they cost, and that's one thing that helps me limit the amount of food I'm eating these days. When I have fresh mangoes on my tree, I'm probably going to overeat on them. But for the most part, my diet is based right now is, I'd say 50% of my diet is fruit, and the other 50% or 45% or 40% is probably greens, and then the other 5 or 10% is probably nuts and seeds. And that's where I'm currently at. Again, I'm not eating or promoting eating a lot of fruit. I'm saying the majority of the food I'm eating these days is fruit, especially with the summer coming up. In the winter, I might do more greens and salads and nuts. In the summertime, though, definitely doing more fruit. And I'm growing my greens here, and I'm also growing my my fruits, and that's it. I love to juice, though, and I don't like straight-up fruit juice, so I do vegetable juice as a big part of my diet. On average, I eat about maybe 2 to 3 times a day. One of those meals is usually a salad. 2 of those meals is usually fruit, and then or some nuts or so, and then I have my juice, which is usually vegetables with maybe a fruit in them, like an apple or something. So the next question is, what's the day life of Paul Neeson life? What do you do all day? For me, I went into a big transformational shift over these last 3 or 4 years. And 4 years ago, I was married. I have 2 children. And I was working way too much. I was working in an office, in a building, from early morning to late at night, and all throughout the night. And I was eating pretty much from supermarkets, stores, health food stores. And but what happened over the last 4 years, I went through a big life transformation. I ended up getting a divorce, and I moved into this house with this amazing yard. And a good part of my day is spending time in this yard, planting and cleaning and fixing and learning and experimenting. I love to be outside in nature, which is my heart has always been. I aspire and do my best to get to the beach as much as possible. In the summertime, I could see myself getting there every single day at times. My time with work is much less now. I spend most of my day with my children. I homeschool them, and it just gives me so much joy. We go to the park every morning. We get on the swings every morning. We play every morning. And of course, we hunt for fruit. We go coconut hunting. We love to visit people that have fruit trees. I have fruit trees, and we're so excited about the different qualities of fruit. I even have a fruit channel that I started on YouTube, just discussing all different types of fruit trees and different fruits and things like that. It literally has become I want to say my passion or my hobby, but it's more like an addiction to learn and grow and just talk about fruits. And it always has been, really, since I've been a raw foodist, but now it's coming to fruition. And so I just love being outside and love having my windows open and taking cold showers and living as close to nature as possible for somebody that can't be in nature. And I know there's a lot of people out there now that are traveling to distant countries around the world and getting the best tasting durians and the best tasting fruits. And if I was at a different time in my life, I'd be right there doing that. But for where I am now, I mean, it brings me so much joy to spend as much time as possible with my children and teaching them about this, teaching them about living healthy and living natural. I could make so many different subjects of videos that'll get so much more viewers and so on. But my heart is into helping people heal from disease. So that's why I stick to what I'm doing. Another part of my life, though, is and a big shift that's taken place, more maybe for the last 10 or 12 years, is I became a believer in the Bible. And I have a book called Health According to the Bible. And I teach about Genesis 1:29, which is Plan A of our Creator, fruits and vegetables as our diet. So I go around churches and on the internet. I have a channel that teaches all about the Bible, but one of the topics is health in the Bible. So that's what I do. I do not own a TV set. I use my air conditioning as little as possible, and I just love life. How do you eat? I think I already described how I ate currently, and I just love it. Let me give you an example. Oh, by the way, I'm into intermittent fasting. So I don't eat every day. It helps me not to overeat. I'm very fit. I go to the gym. I exercise 4 times a week in the gym. But outside the gym, besides doing all the gardening work in the house, I love to jump rope. I'm obsessed with jumping rope. I've always been into fitness. It's one of my problems that I've had with the raw foodists for many, many years. A lot of them are so into eating the food, but they're not into exercising. A lot of them are doing yoga and stretching, but they're not doing the muscle building exercises. And even before I was a raw vegan, I was a gym rat. So I'm a gym rat, and I love being in the gym. I love lifting weights, and so that's a big part of my life. But I already described how I eat. Also, I'm on an intermittent fasting diet. Currently, for the last 7 months, I'm eating every other day. The days I don't eat, I either do a vegetable juice. Sometimes I might do a diluted fruit juice. Sometimes I might do just water. Sometimes I do nothing. I'll even dry fast some days. And sometimes I enjoy my days of not eating as much as I do as eating. But so I eat every other day, and the days I do eat, I describe to you how I eat. And I do not aspire or decide to eat 1 meal a day. The reason why I eat 2 or 3 meals every other day is because if I limit myself to 1 meal a day, which I think is a great idea, I want to make sure I'm getting my vegetables in or my salad, but I also want to get my fruits in, and I don't want to mix them because I try my best of following food combining. So if I eat a salad one day as my 1 meal, I'm not going to be eating a watermelon. I want to be able to have both in 1 day. So I'd rather have 2 meals in 1 day or 3 meals in 1 day and none the next instead of 1 meal a day. Even better, I'd rather have 1 meal every 2 days rather than 1 meal a day. But I do like to have my salad every day or salad greens, and I also like to have my fruit every day. So that's why I don't do 1 meal a day, I do 2 meals a day. And fully raw, yes, I'm a 100% raw vegan now, and I'd say I've been this way now for the last 7 or 8 months. Prior to that, I was about 90% raw vegan for the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 85% vegan for the last 3 or 4 years. And then prior to that, I was raw for the last 18 years or 15 years or something, and 1 or 2 years in there I tried the goat milk. And my views on supplements. Okay, good question, and that's what we'll end off with today here. And again, you can put your comments and questions below the video. I do have a member website if you want more of this knowledge to be shared. It's rawlifehealthshow.com. You could join there and check that out. My views on supplements is I do not believe you can buy food from the average store today and get all the nutrients our body needs. It's just not in the average store-bought produce, no matter what it is or where it is. I am a big advocate of getting the nutrients our body needs and taking blood tests to monitor to make sure what we're doing is working for us. I have a friend who has a laboratory. I get my blood work checked regularly, and I make sure I'm doing what I can. As for supplements, I was taking a really good amount of supplements, and I have cut back on those because now I'm finding and getting the ideal quality fruits, not from the supermarket, but from people's trees or even my trees. And I'm able to get them from my trees. I don't have to get them from the supplements, the nutrients. So if you can't get a good quality food, then I'm a big advocate of supplements. If you can get good quality food, you don't need as many supplements. But don't think you can live on store-bought food and get all you need. And you need to monitor your blood work no matter what you're doing to make sure you're getting what you need. I believe currently, this is my belief, that vegans will be better off taking a vitamin B12 supplement, which I do. And I also take a vitamin D supplement. I also take a couple of other supplements based on my blood work and some things to help my chemistry out. My overall view for supplements is it's a great short-term cure to a long-term problem. And we should be able to figure it out with food, but until we do, supplements can help get us over the hump. And so I'm not a supplement pusher. I think food is the ideal place to get our nutrients. And this is why I juice, actually. I think juicing is a great way to get the nutrients that we couldn't necessarily get from our food. Since I'm not into overeating and I want my stomach as flat as possible, instead of overeating on the food, I can get all my nutrients in the juice. So for example, instead of eating 7 apples, I'll juice 7 apples. And just give you an example, just making things easier for my digestive system. However, you know, I'd consider eating 7 apples if I had to, but there's just no way you can eat the amount of food that you could if you juice it. And I get my nutrients now from my juice. So as long as I'm juicing and monitoring my blood work, I cut back big time on the supplements. But if I'm not able to do juicing for some reason or monitor my blood work, I think the supplements are wise. And I do take the vitamin B12 and a few other ones now. And that's where I'm at with that. And I hope these answered your questions of where I'm currently at. And again, I continue to monitor what I'm doing and change. I feel so blessed here. This behind me, if you can see it, is a lemon meringue mango tree. And I got all these different trees, avocados, different varieties. I love the different varieties. And I have a fruit channel too, fruitful living channel on YouTube that talks about the fruit trees and the growing of the fruit trees. And all my other channels, plus my member website, rawlifehealthshow.com. So put your comments and questions below the video, everybody. Whatever you decide to do, just eat more raw, ripe, fresh, organic fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds in your diet. You can't go wrong. It'll keep you strong. And that's all I got to say today. So have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.